CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Mekovic.
Well, thanks for joining us this Tuesday. Big heads up, if you have a lead foot, new speed cameras are now issuing tickets in San Francisco up to $500. Here's a look at where those cameras are located. Some of the intersections designated as the city's most dangerous. Lauren Toms has a closer look at how these cameras are already making a difference.
Slow down or pay up. That's the message from San Francisco officials as the city shifts from warnings to fines, cracking down on speeding with 33 automated cameras now fully online. For Hayes Valley resident Caroline, it's the change she's been hoping for.
So I walk a lot around the city and I nearly get run over most days, to be honest. So the speed cameras for me are a good idea.
She walks this park in the Crocker Amazon neighborhood as her kids play soccer nearby. It's right next to Geneva Avenue, where the stretch between Prague and Brookdale is already seeing dramatic results. City data shows speeding incidents dropped 45% in just 2 months since the speed cameras were activated. And in the Richmond, the drop was even steeper. On Fulton Street between 2nd Avenue and Arguello Boulevard, a 63% decline over 13 weeks of having a camera there. Behind the data is a clear shift in driver behavior, says SFMTA's Victoria Wise.
In more than 70% of cases where a vehicle got an initial warning, that they did not receive a warning after that. And I'm optimistic that, frankly, we're not going to be issuing that many citations. Hopefully people have learned about where the cameras are, what the campaign is.
She says that's exactly the point. San Francisco has already seen 13 traffic fatalities this year, 9 of them pedestrians.
We know that speed is the number one cause of fatalities and severe injuries in San Francisco.
Traffic safety advocate Marta Lindsay says while the early results are encouraging, more can be done to get drivers to slow down.
We're a big city with a big speeding problem, and we're going to need not only more speed cameras eventually, but we need a lot more redesigns of streets where drivers feel comfortable going too fast, and we need that to change.
SFMTA says more signage is coming, especially in high-risk corridors, giving drivers little excuse to slow down.
We know already that by the time a driver is going 40 miles per hour, it's incredibly dangerous. And if a pedestrian is hit, they have a 75% chance of being very severely injured or dying. And the thing is that research doesn't even take into account how large and heavy vehicles are now.
And for Caroline, the new system isn't about punishment. It's about peace of mind.
It definitely makes me feel better, especially with my children being here and playing. So, if they were to happen to go out on the street without me, I'd feel a bit safer that there were cars going really fast. But yeah, it can maybe be a good thing for the city.
An investigation is now underway after police shot and killed a man in Richmond. It happened at around 5 last night on 1st Street. Police say they got a report that a man was threatening to kill people inside of a home. When they got there, they say he came outside holding a knife. 2 officers fired shots, and police say that man died at the scene. And this afternoon, we are keeping an eye on some of the fires burning throughout the state, including the Giffords Fire. That has burned over 125 square miles in San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties. It is only 7% contained right now. Closer to home, fire crews still working to contain the lake fire that is burning near Clear Lake. It's burned a little more than a half a square mile. It is 60% contained. And it is warming up across the Bay Area. Let's take a live look outside at the Bay Bridge this Tuesday and checking in with meteorologist Jessica Birch on what to expect for the rest of the week. Jess.
All right, well, let's start off with the fact that it's beautiful out there. And let's also mention that we're expecting a warm up in the forecast. And you know what? July was a really cool month for us widespread throughout the Bay. So this bit of a warm up is actually really appreciated. See if the map will pull up below me. Daytime highs today, they're gearing up for the 90s off into the East Bay all the way over into areas like Antioch. That's going to be the hottest spot, actually. Still cool 60s along the coast with cloudy skies this afternoon, upper 60s into San Francisco there. And we have a mixed bag of 70s and 80s widespread from the Santa Clara Valley all the way up into wine country today. Still a little bit breezy, though, as we head into the afternoon hours today, similar to yesterday. It's dry out there. Relative humidity is pretty low. And then on top of that, we're dealing with that onshore breeze. Gusts today could get anywhere up to around 25, 30 miles per hour. So you factor those things together, we continue to monitor fire weather conditions closely here in the Bay, especially in those inland spots where temperatures are a little bit higher and relative humidity is a bit lower. And on top of that, winds tonight can get anywhere up to around 20, 25 miles per hour close to Concord. I'll have more on that and this coming up in just a bit. Back to you.
Well, to block a vote on redistricting, Texas Democrats fled the state despite threats of arrest. And now they are vowing to stay away until the end of the special session of the Texas legislature. Natalie Brandt has more from the White House.
Texas Democrats say they're standing their ground.
There's folks saying that we walked out. And I think everyone behind me will say, we're standing up. And as Texans would say, we're standing tall.
Appearing this morning alongside the Democratic National Committee chair and the governor of Illinois.
Texas Republicans are trying to diminish the voting power of their own constituents, and in doing so, diminish the rights of Illinoisans and all Americans.
Back in Texas, State House GOP leaders issued civil arrest warrants for the more than 50 Democratic lawmakers who left to block a vote on newly proposed congressional districts.
There will be consequences.
Texas Republican legislators drew the new maps after President Trump said he wanted to increase the GOP's chances of picking up more seats in the state.
I won Texas. I got the highest vote in the history of Texas, as you probably know. And we are entitled to 5 more seats.
The Texas showdown has national implications ahead of next year's midterms. And now some Democratic governors across the country say they'll do what they have to fight back.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says he's considering a special election in the fall to move forward with redrawn maps to boost Democrats' chances there.
They've triggered this response, and we're not going to roll over. And we're going to fight fire with fire.
Texas Democrats say part of their goal is to pressure blue states to take action as more Republican-led states consider the same.
Several other states are now considering redistricting, including Republican-controlled Missouri and Democratic-controlled Maryland. Here at home, a ribbon cutting today as several elementary schools reopen in the Mount Diablo School District, Rio Vista Elementary, Mount Diablo Elementary, and Meadow Homes Elementary, all back open after a year and a half of renovations. Ahead of the first day of school tomorrow, upgrades include new floors and ceilings, new emergency response systems, and ADA accessibility improvements.
This little act of kindness and modernization can help any student enjoy school a little bit more, feel that they're the center of attention, then every dime, every minute, every hour has been worth it.
The project aimed to modernize the schools to better meet the needs of teachers and students. Still ahead here at noon and streaming on CBS News Bay Area. Uproar over a missing street sign. Why neighbors say it means so much to them. And here's a live look outside before we head to break. Shot of South Beach in San Francisco. We're going to be right back. Well, news from Stanford University. They're getting ready to issue hundreds of permanent layoffs this fall. That is according to state filings and internal communications. 363 positions will be impacted, these cuts spanning more than 200 job classifications. The move is part of Stanford's sweeping efforts to cut down its budget. The layoffs set to take effect between September 30th and November 1st. The university's president and provost wrote this in a statement that the decision is the product of a challenging fiscal environment shaped in large part by federal policy changes affecting higher education. Miller Park in Sacramento was apparently so popular with cruisers that they actually renamed a street through the park Lowrider Lane. Well, now, less than a year after the new street sign went up, it has been stolen. Francine Mata is president of the Sacramento Lowrider Commission, which raised money for the name change. She says they don't care why it was taken. They just want that sign back.
It's just heartbreaking to look over there and see it not there anymore. It means a lot to our entire community. Just bring it back.
Well, cruising had been banned in Sacramento for more than 30 years, but in 2022, the law was repealed. City of Sacramento says it is working on replacing the stolen sign, which will cost about $200. Back to our first alert weather, taking another live look outside. That's a gorgeous shot of the Golden Gate Bridge. Let's check back in with meteorologist Jessica Birch.
That was the exact shot I needed to look at because I'm planning on doing a walk there in just a bit before the winds start to get a little bit too gusty. I'll show you that in just a second. It is beautiful out there though right now. I mean, sunny skies throughout all of our inland areas, still cool and cloudy along the coast, kind of like you saw just along the Marin headlands. Those clouds are holding on tight to our coastal communities, sitting in the low 60s today over there, upper 60s into San Francisco, and we have 80s anywhere from Santa Rosa all the way down into Novato today. We also have 70s in Napa as we head into this afternoon, which looks pretty similar for our friends into the Santa Clara Valley. Now, high pressure is starting to creep its way in, and as it does that, we're going to warm up a little bit more day by day as we head into this week. We're actually going to get a little bit above average in certain communities, and at the same time, it's still worth noting along our coastal communities, we're getting some of those strong onshore winds into the afternoon hours tonight, up to around 25, 30 miles per hour. We can see that in areas like Bodega Bay. San Francisco will start to die down into the overnight hours to set up for tomorrow. But the Climate Prediction Center is showing above normal temperatures throughout the next 6 to 10 days, not only here in the Bay Area, but widespread throughout the whole state of California, Nevada, pretty much everywhere in the Southwest. So I want to show you what that means for us here locally, because as we head into the afternoon hours today, we're jumping into the 80s for the most part, like you saw in our inland areas, with the exception of Antioch in the 90s already. Tomorrow, we will see more 90s on the map, though. 80s and 90s back and forth with each other as we head into the rest of this week with sunny skies, low relative humidity, and some strong breezy conditions at times. All of those factor together and allow for fire weather conditions, so we continue to keep a close eye on that too. Today, tomorrow, this whole week is not the day to be doing any outdoor burning by any means. Now, we head into this week for our friends along the bay, so closer to the Bay Bridge you see behind me. 70s are in the forecast each day. A little bit warmer tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a nice midweek forecast, and then we're going to cool down into Thursday. High pressure will continue to build its way in, getting us a bit above average for this time of year, which is a big contrast compared to where we were at in July, where in San Francisco alone, every single day of the month, with the exception of one day, was at or below average for those daytime highs. So we have that summer-like forecast here finally. I'll have more on that coming up in a bit. Back to you.
Well, the 49ers playing their first preseason game this Saturday, but one of the most interesting competitions in training camp might have already been decided. Here's Vern Glenn with the Red and Gold reports.
This is the Audi Red and Gold Report.
49er head coach Kyle Shanahan announced Monday running back Isaac Orindo will be out the next couple of weeks with a shoulder injury, and defensive tackle Kevin Givens will be out until the regular season with an injured pec. San Francisco may have settled one of training camp's biggest competitions Monday, with the team cut kicker Greg Joseph appearing to mean Jake Moody will hold on to the starting job. Joseph was brought in to challenge Moody, who missed 10 field goals last season. But Shanahan has been impressed with the former third-round pick during training camp.
It shows he's kicking the ball real well right now, which he is. So is Greg, too. But Mooney's got a lot of talent, and he's been kicking the ball very well, and hopefully that continues.
What do you consider the competition final then?
Whether you have one kicker in the building or two, which you rarely have two, kickers always know they're competing with whoever's out there. So I don't see it much different.
With the Red and Gold Report, I'm Vern Glenn.
4 days and counting until the Niners face the Broncos in their preseason debut at Levi Stadium. You can watch it right here on KPIX, Saturday at 5:30. Coming up after the break, she won over $1 million on Jeopardy, but that wasn't the only highlight from her time on the show. We're going to have a look at how she is using her platform to advocate for transgender rights. Well, as part of Transgender History Month, we are highlighting some remarkable Bay Area individuals, and one of them is Amy Schneider, who became a star on the game show Jeopardy! While she is serving as an inspiration for trans youth, our Kenny Choi reports she's also speaking out about transgender resources stripped away by the Trump administration.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Signing her book in the form of a question, The Joys and Rewards of a Curious Life, Amy Schneider recollects her history-making run on the game show Jeopardy!
It really just sort of forced me to get over a lot of my doubts about my self-image and about my voice and everything else, because I was on national television for a couple of months.
In late 2021, the former software engineer garnered national and worldwide attention, coming out as a transgender woman during her 40-game win streak, second best all time. She won more than $1.3 million in prize money. But her jaw-dropping streak gave her much more than just financial security.
Ever since then, I have really not worried about, my appearance or anything else. I dress for myself and I look how I want to look, not how I think I have to appeal to other people.
Schneider spoke at an event to help LGBTQ+ business leaders and share more of her story. Sky King is an entrepreneur.
Amy is just such an inspiration. I think her journey has been so powerful.
Schneider is using her platform to speak out on transgender issues, including gender-affirming care.
Healthcare is being taken away from trans kids in some places, and the fact is that the movement behind that wants to take it away from all trans people everywhere.
Dawn Zarilla is a board member of StartOut, who believes gatherings like this will empower marginalized individuals.
It's about building community and reminding ourselves that we need each other in the entire spectrum of society to thrive.
Schneider focuses on the decades-long gains for LGBTQ rights, which she says made it much easier to make her transition.
It's only because we have come so far that it's possible for these, attacks to be happening.
These days, she finds herself in the role of a trailblazer.
To know that I have been able to do something, even kind of inadvertently, to make trans people happy, to help them, to give them some comfort in whatever struggles they're going through, is just incredibly meaningful, and it's something that I never thought would happen in my life.
It's a path she has become more comfortable with, becoming one of the more visible faces of the transgender community.
Well, Schneider's Jeopardy streak is second only to champion and the host, Ken Jennings, who won 74 consecutive games. The MTV Video Music Awards airing next month, and the nominations are in one of the most anticipated categories, of course, Best Pop Artist. And the nominees are Ariana Grande, Charlie XCX, Justin Bieber, Lorde, Miley Cyrus, Sabrina Carpenter, and Tate McRae. Fans are already making their predictions.
And of course, Sabrina Carpenter, who is actually who I think is going to take home this VMA. I mean, last year, I got my espresso right here. It was all about espresso. So I think Sabrina Carpenter might take that one home.
There's also another first ever category that is Best Country. We got Chris Stapleton, Cody Johnson and Carrie Underwood, Jelly Roll, Lainey Wilson, Megan Maroney, Morgan Wallen. So a lot of competition there. You can watch the Video Music Awards coming up on Sunday, September 7th. That is going to be live on CBS and MTV, as well as streaming on Paramount+. Plenty of choices. Thanks for joining us today at noon. Remember, we are streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app.